The constitutional crisis of Sri Lanka goes for a very long time. Just now, the government is refusing to obey some of the orders of the Supreme Court, and therefore there is an open clash. The history of this goes particularly back to 1978. When Sri Lanka became independent in 1948, it had a constitution that recognized the separation of powers. Also, in 1802, independence of judiciary was introduced, Supreme Court was introduced. So therefore, there is also about 200 years of a tradition of independence of judiciary. In 1978, the new government wanted executive president to have absolute power. One of the challenges was how to defeat the tradition of independence of judiciary, which is well entrenched in the country. Attempts were made, and even the first Chief Justice under this new regime rebelled against this. Thereafter, every regime has tried to suppress the judiciary, but it has only succeeded partially. In recent times, with the problems becoming ever more grave, people are turning to the Supreme Court and trying to get relief against the various forms of repression and increase of prices and things like that by the executive. The most recent judgment is when the Supreme Court gave order to the government to reduce the petrol prices. The government up to this point has not obeyed, and also openly called for some sort of action against the Supreme Court. The question is a very grave one. It is not just about any single issue. It is as to whether Sri Lanka will return to absolute executive control, which simply means a complete totalitarian regime with no recognition of separation of powers, or will it try to fight back in order to maintain the independence of judiciary and thereby also the rule of law. It's a very serious situation. Many of the institutions have collapsed in a very big way. Confidence of the people on public institutions is very low. The allegations of corruption is everywhere. As a result, the government is virtually by executive decisions. There is no space for public discourse because the journalists are either killed or harassed, and the newspapers are highly suppressed. There is a very heavy form of self-censorship imposed on both the print media as well as the electronic media. Under these circumstances, the only avenue that people have is to resort to the judiciary, and they are doing it. The issue is not merely a matter between judiciary and the executive, the government, but it is the major political issue in the country. The understanding of this whole issue will also shed lights on other issues, such as the prolonged ethnic crisis, the so-called struggle of the LTTE and the struggle against it, which is claiming heavy amount of life, but nothing can be solved in a situation where the constitution itself is in serious crisis. Therefore, all concerned persons in Sri Lanka is also drawing the attention of the world to look at this broader issue in order to help the promotion and protection of human rights of the people. It is not possible to protect the rights against torture, extrajudicial killings, disappearances, which are all too common, and freedom of expression, and also freedom of assembly, and the right to have fair elections, without first resolving the constitutional crisis which is bedeviling the country.